I read it, what I loved about the script was there's such an assortment of great supporting characters in it. I love that the film kind of centers around the two of them, and then all these supporting characters kind of come in and add to the story. But similarly, when I got the script, I read it and I was like, this is the craziest thing I think I've ever read. And I was like, I don't know if I want, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. I don't really do sci-fi, I don't do comedy, I don't do anything like that. And also I had just, I guess I do now. And I had also come, actually this is the second time I've seen it. I saw it at South by when we debuted it. But I had come off a very big studio film, and so I didn't really understand what independent film was. I was like, so they're not making it for $100 million. How will a film get made? But truly, I actually really thought that. So I was really like hesitant going into it. They were like, you're only going to shoot for a very short amount of time in New York on a green screen. And again, I couldn't really wrap my brain around it, and I'm so glad I said yes to it, because it's really changed the way I view things and the projects I've accepted and the scripts I've read since is all because of this project and Michael and everyone who took a risk on this. It really is, it's amazing. I'm so glad I said yes. I almost didn't, and I'm glad I did.
Is Michael now fielding offers from studios to make that $100 million movie?
That's the plan. Yeah.
Source subject.
Aristotle and Cassie, not Cassie, Paloma. Sorry, you were so convincing. What was it like acting without any of the sets? I suppose you had like things you were actually interacting with, but I guess what were the biggest surprises when you saw the movie?
I just don't know how you did it. I don't know how you did it. You had everything and nothing.
I don't recall me acting to nothing. What?
I don't recall me acting.
No, I mean, I think almost every scene that I had really great scene partners. Zosh is very giving, and also very tender. There was we were really lucky to have some of the like Paloma and Arturo. Like, we had a lot of like really great people to do scenes with. So it was kind of easy. I just don't remember doing anything to oh, you know what? Actually doing. I guess I did do some scenes with a Zasha that wasn't there. But I can do that right now. Like, Paloma, what do you think of the movie? See, it's pretty easy. It's not
That's sci-fi.
Sci-fi. I'm not very good at these, but
I didn't understand. Like, you see a green screen and you see that and you see these LED screens, and obviously so many projects are utilizing those. But when I walked into the room that we were shooting in New York, I texted my manager and I was like, I don't understand how this is gonna work. Like, I don't get it. And so I think it was just, I didn't believe it. And then you see it, and truly I just sat back this whole time just going like, wow, the effects in this film are incredible. And just like knowing what we had there, a couch that would just had to look a specific way in a specific color is completely transformed into a space. It's just like remarkable what everyone did. I'm so in awe.
very charming too, right?
Yeah. And onto itself,
Yes.
It's like onto the sequences are so like camp in some way as well, but have so much heart infused. It's really it's not trying to be anything that it's not.
Yes.
I will say so much of that is our, and he's not here tonight, but our writer-director, Michael, because, you read a film like this and you're like, there's so many ways this film is gonna fail and just like not work. And then when he matches it all together and actually does work, it's pretty amazing. So, there would be actors coming out and said like, how this is gonna work? I'm like, I don't know. We're just trusting this guy.
I wasn't so negative. I was very much like, we can do this, let's go. And the fans like, oh no, sure, like, get the fuck out of here.
We were having a lot. His past work though had, very similar, talking about the short, is like, and I think that we all resonated with that, and seeing him in the feature length is just so amazing.
I think in general, like, for anybody who isn't as familiar with reading scripts, we do it a lot. Like, there's a very common thing when you're looking at a script and thinking how it's going to translate to screen. It's like, the difference between like half a page of dialogue is just two people talking back and forth versus like an epic war movie that's like, baton, is that what they're called? Yeah, you know, like descends over the hill, and you're like, wow, okay, that's gonna be massive. And I think in this space, like, same similar sort of thing when you're reading it, and just these like random asides to an entire world you've never seen or understand, but just being like, the cyberspace responds to, you know, to Max's comment about being a fish person, and you're like, the cyberspace response, what is the cyberspace, you know? And then to see that come in and like, oh, well, how it's gonna look is, and you're like, okay, yes, great, yes, then I read it.
Months before we were talking about shooting Grace, who plays Triangle on and LA. She was in LA at the time and she couldn't make it to New York. I was like, can we shoot her on green screen in LA? It's like, well, we're gonna shoot her like kaleidoscope. I was like, wait, what? you didn't read it as that, so it was really fascinating though, even in fact like getting inside Michael's mind kind of understanding it all. I even, you know, talking about the music, or forget the time he was like, oh yeah, this is all gonna be jazz score. I was just like, I can never reread the script. It like ideas in mind. It was pretty.
The music was so good. Can we please get a round of applause for the music? I would ask questions because I have my own.
Well, I mean, take it away.
What do you now? When you scored this film, did Michael give you like any like this is what I like some samples, or just kind of run with it?
He told me there's probably a good chance that it's going to use this really classic jazz score that I've been putting into the film and temp score. So all these great records from the 40s, 50s, 60s. He's like, you know, we'll probably have you do like 5 or 6 pieces in the score. Just give me a chance to do one patch the whole thing, and you can throw it out, you know, like if you don't do it. And so he ended up using all the stuff that I wrote.
Music is so difficult, right? It's very hard.
It was incredible. Just I read the script, and there's a lot of obstacles to reading the script. It's either boring or it doesn't read the way that I'm watching. So reading it, I was really entertained. I'm like, I fell in love with the characters before I got to see the role of the script. And he said, all right, we have 2 weeks to do a jazz score for a week. And I said, okay, do this. So he's a very effective guy.
Yeah.
I got a question. Well, a statement. I'm not part of the film crew or friends of the movie. I'm just a moviegoer.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't need to tell us why we should like it. I loved it. And it's not just rom-com or sci-fi. It's more than that. It's really great movie.
What was your name?
Doug.
Doug. Thank you, Doug. I don't discount. It doesn't exist without you. So thank you for coming. And thank you for saying what you said. That's very sweet of you.
I'm an artist and I understand the creativity. Your son is a genius.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm Doug Lee. Where are you guys going? You're going where?
You have to say something else before you
We have more questions. Wow. Okay. I prefer Doug.
Thank you for coming.
Did I get any insight into any discussion about like what does a leading man in a rom-com in modern times look like, and how, you know, what was the thought process there?
What are you asking?
I'm asking Aristotle, what's it like being a leading man in a movie in 2024 versus like
Oh, well,
like
that's
a
very
classic
sweet of you.
Sally? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, give me a minute to blush, please. I don't know. I mean, I don't. For me, like, I got lucky with this movie. I think there's not a lot of projects you can jump on and I'm gonna get very kind of artsy here and be honest as an actor and it works. I have had like a weird kind of. Sometimes I'll read something and be like, this works, and this is great. And you shoot it, you see it, and you're like, oh, that just did not work. And then you read something that's kind of crazy, it's like, I don't know how the fuck this is gonna work, pardon my language. And then you make it, and then this, and you're like, wow, this really worked. So I don't know. I mean, as far as like, I don't know. I think for the rest of my life, to be honest, I feel like I'm a character guy, and I don't ever want that to change, to be honest. Even though I would love to be in like a superhero suit, that'd be really cool. But still, like one that's got like gas or something, something like like problems, you know, like.
Was this character really far from who you are?
In a lot of ways, yes. In other ways, no. And I'm just gonna leave it like that, just straight in the street down the line. No, there's some parts of Max that I think are very much me, and some parts that are very much not me. But I think that's kind of the fun of being able to play a character. At least for me, I do better when the person's not like me at all, because then I can kind of like play something that I'm not. I think it's scarier to play a character that's more like you, don't you think?
Yeah, it's revealing, it's terrifying, it's
Really?
very vulnerable to play you.
Yeah. So.
What was the rehearsal process like?
Yeah.
Was there one?
A little bit, yeah.
Let's run the lines.
Yeah.
Pictures up. Let's go.
Well, the thing is like, I don't know if you can, I mean, obviously you saw the movie, but Michael's very specific about his dialogue. He writes it in and he wants it in a rhythm, like he wants it delivered in a particular way. And so there was some challenge there trying to do it in the rhythm and also show a little bit of, like, I don't know, does that make sense? Like, kind of like, you make it, you follow the recipe, but then you try to add a little bit of your own spice. And sometimes he says, hey, don't have the spice. I'm like, but it's my spice. And he's like, I don't want your spice. So, man, I'm bombing this, I'm sorry.
No, I think it's
No? You good? Okay, good. This is my spice.
Please add spice. It was really interesting because, again, for like kind of the supporting characters, the director session I had with him after my audition was a huge feel of that. I improv'd a lot in my audition tape for him, and when we got on the Zoom together, he was like, I love everything that you added, and I would just love to do a pass where you don't add any of it. But it was kind of, I thought the feel out, like that felt very rehearsally in that director session, even though that was months before we shot. Really sensing sensibility, and can you keep that aliveness within, he is very specific about his text. So that was interesting.
I don't think there was anything improvised at all. I think the only thing that you saw that maybe improvised was at the very end, the outtakes. But man, there's some great stuff that just didn't use, that we just improvised and missed out.
Remember when Arturo just pitched robots to you for like 20 minutes?
Oh yeah, totally.
We just wasted everyone's time for hours.
I know. Yeah.
Any other audience questions? I can keep going.
Yeah.
After you kind of knew it was a go, and obviously the script Michael had written, how much time was it? I know it was probably shot in a non-sequential traditional way, but how much time so you had to film finished to screen it?
After we shot it, just
Well, no, including the shoot. Like, how many days did you shoot? Just it was like
19-day shoot. Pipeline was nine. It was a 19-day shoot. Actually, we only had a 5-week edit, and then we delivered 3 days before South by Southwest. So it was very fast. But again, because he had done so much work going into the shoot, post was about 3 months, but he had already done so many visual effects and so much ahead of time, where we were able to do it a lot.
Like, the timeline is a little tricky because truly he was creating VFX over 18 months.
Yeah.
So like what would have been a very long post process was basically a pre-production post process.
right.
So then, in many ways, the majority of the film was completed before principal photography started. And then the edit was also really specific because Joanna Novel, our editor, who's the best and just won an Emmy for The Bear, she's Michael's wife, and which helps. So, a 5-week edit is like, yes. And even that, she's edited all of his past shorts and stuff as well. So in terms of there being like a shorthand and like a quickness to putting it together, it's not something you can recreate easily. I don't think there's no one else who can do that with. It was really specific to this group of people, but it came together.
And I
Not those fucks that left. Sorry, I'm kidding, come on,
If
I'm
anybody
kidding.
needs to leave, you're allowed, we will not shame you.
Absolutely not. You leave, I'm gonna fucking storm you on the way out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, for me personally, Aristotle, you and the Molly character, you guys, like, one of my favorite parts was, like, the chemistry you guys had. Like, you guys are both, like, super charming together.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm just wondering how much of that is just, like, you know, two professional actors showing up and just hitting it, or how much of that is, like, somehow coincidence you guys actually happen to click well with the director?
Is that your way of asking if we hated each other?
Or if you fell in
Why
love.
was it so, where'd that term come from? Is that natural, or are you guys just professional?
No, I mean, honestly, she's very, very, so, I'm gonna be honest, there were some days that maybe my lines, I didn't fully, wasn't maybe off book. And Michael, it was kind of his perfect kind of, you know, he just hates that so much. It's like it's like his perfect cancer for me to not know my lines. But Zosh was very like, she's a pro. I'm a pro too, but I kind of, you know, I did start in the improv world and you know, I do kind of, I don't make things up as I go. I'm a professional. I'm a professional. But no, like me and Zosh, we got along pretty well. But we were, again, very professional, and yeah, I guess my answer to your question is it was good acting too.
I would add a Zosh version of was that you guys had like a good rapport and the chemistry was on and off screen, but everyone was friendly and lovely and no one fell in love.
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, I'm married, okay? And so is Joshua, and that's not, I don't know what you guys are getting at. You know what I mean?
Not only that, shot in the hottest week.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the end of like, there was like a COVID spike at the time, in this stage that had LEDs, which made it even hotter. We couldn't run the AC that we had because it was too loud. So and then we put you in like spacesuits, which was really just like winter clothes, which was the worst thing possible. They still liked each other somehow, so there's I feel like there's definitely some sort of friendship chemistry there.
Yes.
I feel like with all that at the same time.
I create some rooms.
Talk about it, but either way, it worked.
Here's the thing, you either love me or you really don't. We had fun. It was hot, and some days I didn't know my lines. That's it. I'm out of here. All right. What else? What else?
Yes.
So I've known Michael 20 years, and I used to live in this loft where he would like say like, hey, can I like, I grew up in this like old petrol station converted loft. And he'd be like, I really want to make a film. And I'm like, cool, I'm not home. And I get home and this is like, these like fake robots. And so like this theme has been like his whole life. Like I'm just gonna make a film in like three hours. Like don't worry, I'll be in and out. And there's like all this like space stuff, like weird sci-fi stuff. So it was so great to see this. And I was just curious, like what was it like to be a robot? Like he had his moment and I watched him like, and he did a cameo tonight. But like, was it like a childhood feeling of like, I kind of want to be in this like supernatural world, like, I don't know, was that a kind of fun play on that, of the sci-fi universe? To both, I mean, I guess to you, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too, you just kind of don't know what you're fully in until you see it at the end, because it's like a lot of, I mean, I'd say like in the studio that we were shooting in, what is that studio called, the first one, the one with the big LED screens? The Family, right? That was very much, you weren't completely, you weren't acting to, you know, a taped up mark on the wall. That felt very much like, you know, it still was an LED screen, but it reads on camera a little differently. But yeah, I mean, it is fun, you know, like a lot of, I think the reason why I think I do what I do is because I never really grew up anyways. So, I'm the most professional child you'll ever meet.
Yeah, the whole thing is very playful and then like extra. About all
Yes.
Well, what about you though? I feel like you had more interaction with the world we see now, but that you didn't necessarily have there. Like, what was your boot like?
I was presented with a ski boot and said that this is going to be when your foot's in cyberspace. I was like, but of course, absolutely. What I went to acting school for, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think some things with my character, some of the parts of her are very much who I am. I can just like ramble and talk too fast, and then I'll catch myself and then circle back around 10 times about why I'm talking so fast and stuff. So I think that came out in my audition, but I think the play on, you know, her just being so out there and so into things, I thought was very topical, you know, with, especially, I mean, the Apple goggle things that came out this week. I mean, Cassie would have loved those. Like, that's, you know, that's what she like lives for. She's like, I'm gonna take out one eyeball and I'm gonna install a new one and text everyone I know. So it was cool to like envision that and imagine that. But yes, to that point, I mean, I think while we act, I get off of every project just being like, that was a cool world to step into and out of.
Yeah.
And this one was unique because you didn't get to see a lot of that world. So there was so much trust and so much trust in Michael that he saw. And when you would do some takes and you're like, is that anything? And he saw it and he would okay it. And it's cool to then see how effective it is, which is great.
Yeah, it was great.
I was skeptical of the way.
Yeah.
This question's for Alex. Did I hear you scored the film in 2 weeks? Yeah, so we usually should have 2 months or so, and they had a deadline to shop by when I got on board. So they're like, hey, you called up where I 5 pieces of music, so it's some time. And I'm like, okay, well, can I do the whole thing in 2 weeks? I guess so. And yeah, so it ended up being 2 weeks that we had to submit everything. And now I did have time to go back record musicians afterwards, but once when we did do it South by. So there was sort of a second production process in music where they write it and record it.
Are you a Gypsy Jazz fan? And did you, like, yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, my background was in jazz, working out here in Houston. So I actually went back and recorded a lot of musicians that I was meeting with me, and they're friends of mine, and they're really happy to help out. So all the people you heard in there, people are great.
Really cool. Huh?
Yeah.
I always thought it was gonna be jazz. I'll be honest.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I go, what do you mean jazz? He goes, well, I've only seen it in Star Wars going into the diner. I was like, all right, let's do it.
I think to me, coming from the rom-com world,
Yeah.
like, I was like, well, of course it would be jazz. Like, never, you know, that was the.
What I realized is that when you put jazz in space, it makes it feel like New York City.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People made it work. Like, you guys, you were delivering in a way that felt legit, but it was romance. It's just felt right. Yeah. And your dialogue. I remember some of your stuff, and I was like, okay, this is.
What did you start with? Did you start with a theme, or were you like how did one build a score in 2 weeks?
Yeah, and luckily he approved a couple pieces of music I wrote to pitch him even to get the meeting. So someone in the audience, Tim Hendricks, is a friend of Michael's. Yeah, good applause too. Yes. Contributed nothing. He kind of and his last film used jazz score throughout, and so he knew that it might be a good fit. And so I wrote 2 pieces in one day. One was a gypsy jazz upbeat song, and the other one was a slow ballad that ended up being in the movie. And so when I sent both of them to him, I was like, this is it. I mean, you can use this music in the movie.
I incessantly texted Mike for 3 weeks being like, hire this man. You were genetically engineered to compose for this movie. Now okay, I'm done talking.
It really was good. The music, I just don't see how the movie would have tied together with anything but that score. Honestly, it's so good. It's so good. And I never thought I would like listening to jazz while looking at like. Also, the space, like the what would you call those? Like just like the image of space. We're just looking at space. Background. The spacescapes. I really enjoyed looking at the spacescapes. I think there's a future in doing Spacescape, some Molli Max Spacescapes desktops. So
like for
screensavers with the music in the background.
How should, if people loved the movie, which I'm thinking they did.
Yeah.
What's the best way to promote it?
Tell your friends.
Post about it,
Yeah.
tell your friends.
If you took any photos coming in or tickets, or, you know, just all the socials, all your friends, word of mouth. We're screening here at NoHo all week long. We have another special screening over at the Lumley Santa Monica Film Center on Valentine's Day. So if people don't know what to do for a good date, send them this. Yeah, and then AMC Burbank and 3 other AMCs in the area, but we're all over the country too, and we'll be opening up in weeks to follow. So yeah, if you go to mollimax.com or tell your friends too, it'll have the list of all of our theaters we're playing at and where to get tickets.
There's also on their Instagram, there's a bunch of videos about how Michael pulled off a lot of these things. So if you're interested in that.
Really cool videos.
And to the question about whether or not he's gonna do a $100 million movie, if you all tell your friends, what does this mean, then the answer will be a definitive yes.